This video is an overview of the top two framework, which is React and Angular. In the last close to 5 years, I specifically worked with these two frameworks, and here is my personal review about these two frameworks. Don't get me wrong, React is actually an excellent tool to build full-blown enterprise application as well, but I actually have an observation or a reservation about it. And I will spend more of my time to talk about Angular, for instance. When you're building a full-blown enterprise single page application, you need routing, you need to be able to fetch data from external resources. You need to be able to send data to external resources. You need to do a lot of HTTP requests and all that. You need to be able to format the user's input. You equally need to be able to do validation, which is one of the things that JavaScript itself does, or one of the functions of JavaScript or the features of JavaScript. You equally need to be able to authenticate routers, which is authenticate routing, which means users who do not need to have access to a particular route don't need to have access to those routes. I have a problem when one of the things you are going to face, particularly as someone who is coming into this field um, on the front end with React, is when you want to do uh, application, when you want to write validation for routing, it takes a lengthy period of time or a lengthy code for you to just write validation. But with Angular comes with uh, client validation by default, which is to validate the router, to validate users' input, comes with form validation. You don't need Formic. You don't need most of those things that you need to. You don't need to think about props. You don't need to think about types and all this sort of stuff. Angular comes with TypeScript by default, which means it makes your developer experience far more better and far more useful, and makes everything makes your life easier. Angular equally has a steep learning curve. But I particularly find that to be very useful because if you're starting out in your journey, you need to learn the best practices. You need to learn design patterns. These are some of the things that you're going to learn if you're going to learn Angular. And that is one of the reasons I particularly think that Angular makes more sense. It makes life of the developer more easier if you're able to learn it. And I strongly recommend that you learn Angular, even if you want to learn React. Thank you.